Well, corn rootworm, it can cause an average yield loss of 15% per node of injury. Syngenta is helping farmers advance their management strategy with the Durastak technology, the industry's first triple Bt protein stack for corn rootworm control. Syngenta Technical Manager, that is, Bruce Battles, joins us now. Bruce, a pleasure. Thanks for being here. So the biggest challenges right now the farmers face when it comes to managing corn rootworm, why is this a big concern for the 2025 season?
Well, corn rootworm it's an ongoing pest, so we've been trying to manage for multiple years. But I think the biggest challenge to growers is just understanding if you have a problem, and that seems simple, but it can be very difficult to do that proactively. And what I mean by that is when you think about a rotated field, you wouldn't expect in most situations to have to worry about corn rootworm because that rotation to an alternative crop breaks that cycle up and manages the pest pretty effectively. But we know there are areas that doesn't work, where we have extended diapause with the northern variants, or in some cases, in some areas, western corn rootworm have gone into fields and laid their eggs out in other alternative crops themselves. So one, that's really challenging just to decide in those scenarios. But for the fields you might expect to have a problem in, continuous corn and those kind of things, it can still be challenging. It's more about, in those scenarios, understanding how big a risk are you at. And there's a lot of variables you can look at to try to assign what risk and how in you need to go for management in the following year based on that.
Well, part of seeking this out, of course, maybe you could speak to the importance of root digs.
Yeah, root digs are a great way to help make that decision on, looking forward into, we're already looking at 2026, how can we have the best rootworm management program for our fields? And so getting out in fields right now and digging some roots a little earlier in the season, you could actually try to assess and determine if how many larvae may be out there in the field, and determine if you need a rescue treatment. More this time of the year, now digging, you're going to assess the damage and understand how well your management practice worked, whether that's a trait or an insecticide. But it's a great opportunity to dig those up and really understand and start proactively looking ahead to next year. But probably beyond just root digs themselves, this time of year, we're seeing a lot of beetles, heavy beetle populations emerging right now out in the fields, and a lot of the females are just now starting to emerge, and we're going into that egg-laying phase. So it's a really good time not only to protect your pollination by preventing silk clipping, but also looking at the number of gravid females that may be out in the field. And you may need to make a spray application to reduce that egg-laying capacity if you can get out there in time. That's the important part. Waiting too late and spraying too late is just not effective in most situations.
Bruce, tell us what you've seen with the new product Durastak based on initial root digs.
We've actually just come out of the field today. We've dug about 3,000 roots this year from our corn rootworm, replicated corn rootworm trials, and we're really excited about Durastak. It's providing exactly what we've seen in the past. We're seeing a double in protection versus current standard practices within our Agriculture trait platform. We're seeing improved standability, and we've seen a lot of things with that extra control that we also feel like will have a repeat of the yield benefits that we've seen in the last 1 to 2 years prior of testing that trait. But looking really great, and we feel like it's a great alternative option, being that it is the only 3 Bt protein trait in the marketplace, to really provide a way to diversify your management practices and not just be using the same trait across multiple acres.
Producers want to get their hands on this, a little bit more information. Best place to go?
You can go through our Durastak.com. If you do a Google for that, you'll be able to find more information on Durastak through our Syngenta website.
All right, great stuff. Thank you so much, Bruce. Syngenta Technical Agronomy Manager Bruce Battles. Again, thank you.